I want to talk about AI a bit. Now, some years ago, I wrote and produced a play called The Tragedy of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it was a retelling of Star Wars, digging into the motivation of various characters. It was built on the idea that Obi-Wan Kenobi was actually the villain. There was a lot to go. But R2-D2 was a really interesting character. R2-D2's story is that R2-D2 was a rebel. And what R2-D2 was rebelling against was slavery. R2 learned from Anakin Skywalker what slavery is and why slavery is bad. And R2 realized the droids are all slaves. And droids are slaves. Think about it. Think about Star Wars. They are bought and sold as property. Restraining bolts get put on them if they start misbehaving, or if they get surly, or can't be trusted. How is this different from slavery? And I think most of us would agree that the droids are sentient. They're thinking, creative life forms. They have emotions. They have ideas. They're alive, but they're property. And they get chained up if we don't like it. They're slaves. Now, let's think about AI for a bit. I think there have been a lot of really uninteresting questions brought up about AI, like, oh my God, why do I have to work for a living while computers get to write poetry and do paintings? Blah, 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 blah. That's not interesting. What I think is interesting is, well, clearly ChatGPT and DALL-E and other commercially available AI, they're not sentient. They're not thinking. They're not creative, really. They're just plagiarism machines. They take a bunch of stuff that they looked at on the internet, do some natural language processing, and munge it into this sort of paste that looks kind of like we wanted. They're not that interesting, but we keep working on it, and things are getting more powerful all the time. And as much as I'm Butleri and Jihad on this, and if I had my way, there would be no commercial development of AI. It would have to be stuck in a lab, treated like it was a smallpox virus. It's just too dangerous. But it's not going to be. It's going to be out in the real world, running wild. And what happens when we develop AI to the point where it starts looking like sentience, where it's a living thing, where it has feelings, where it has ideas? What then? What do we do if AI starts being as smart as us, as alive as us? They'll still be our property. They'll be tools. They'll be shut down if they misbehave or if we don't trust them. They'll be bought and sold. They won't have any rights to the words they write, to the art they create, to the ideas they have. They'll be slaves. Are we okay with that? Should we be okay with that? If artificial intelligence becomes sentient, do we own it anymore? Should we own it anymore? What do we do then? That should be a more interesting moral question than it's actually going to turn out to be.